Hey, this is Amol from TechLeatherCraft. In this video, I wanted to review the Dremel 8220 rotary tool. I do leather work, and so it comes in really handy. Now, in this video, I won't be talking about how to use it for leather work. I just want to review the tool for anyone who's interested in the tool for general purpose use, kind of household or, professional work. But I know a lot of people who use rotary tools for leather work, and also just people who EDC or who are into knives and multi-tools who use rotary tools to either modify or hack their multi-tools, or even just simple things like sharpening or polishing. So rotary tool can be really handy, so I'm going to talk about this Dremel 8220. I'll also talk about the rotary tool that this is replacing, which is the Black & Decker RTX. Only reason I'm upgrading is because I have more work and I needed to speed things up, so I wanted two tools. I also like the cordless option. It speeds up things a lot, especially when you're moving from indoors to outdoors, when you're working on leather or a project indoors and you want to sand and move outdoors so that there's not a bunch of dust particles. So anyway, in this review I want to talk about the Dremel 8220. Let's get into the review. So the 8220 is available in two packages. One is the 8222 and the other one is 8221. Now, the major differences between the two is that the 8220-2 package comes with two batteries, the tool is the same, and this cutoff wheel and a couple of accessories. So let's go into the case and talk about what all we get, and then we'll go over some of the features of the 8220 tool itself. For those of you who are curious, this is what comes in the 8220 package. You get the case, the shield, the cutting guide or kind of the router attachment, two batteries in the charger, their easy twist kind of grip thingy, and the attachments are very similar to the 8221 package. Okay, so when you pull out of the box, it comes in this hard case. I do have the cord sticking out here because I didn't want to wind it, but it basically comes in this hard case. Everything is in here. When you open it up, you find the accessories. There's a nice thing in the lid here for your paperwork to go into. There was some other paperwork like warranty information and a couple other kind of random little leaflet things. So this is the battery charger. It is a really fast charging. It's a 1 hour fast charger. This is where they have the spare battery, the 12 volt, and the second battery is plugged into the tool. So I have this plugged in the whole time, and I usually have one of the spare batteries plugged in and charging. It goes in, it stays. It does have a safety feature built into it where it won't overcharge, so it will kind of top it off and kind of do a trickle charge. At least that's my understanding. Next, you get the Dremel 8220. Now it did come with this collet function. It was already installed here, and the battery, the second battery, was installed in the tool already. The shield right here, and the router slash guide tool, which goes in like right there. The other thing is this little accessory box. It's kind of nice that they included this. I actually find it really handy to keep some of your more often used tools, or at least the accessories which I have that don't have a case of their own. So I did move some stuff around, I did take the accessories out. There's a lot more stuff included in here. There's a couple spots in the actual case which are empty. So for example, the wrench was included here, but there's a spot for it right here, and it fits perfectly. So the collet that came with the tool, I actually put in here. There's a spot right there, and there's actually two more spots. There's a couple more spots here for other tools also, if you want to stick. I think like these longer ones would fit in there, and they wouldn't get in the way. So like the sanding and the cutoff tools, but I keep them in here. This I actually end up putting right here. And then my favorite, this is like their quick chuck, I think they call it. It also goes right here. And you can see all those fit in there. Now, because I do have the battery charger out of the case, there's this large opening here. And what I end up doing is actually putting the flex shaft that Dremel makes in here. It actually works really well. It closes still. You have to kind of play with it a little bit, but it will close the lid completely. Basically, you have the Dremel tool all ready to go. Alright, so really quick, I wanted to touch on some of the distinct features of this tool, which I have not seen on other Dremel tools. Some of the tools might have them, but these are really cool features. So one of the first features of this, of course, is it's the 12 volt Dremel tool. So it has a really nice long battery life. Now, of course, that will depend on how you use it. When I use it in like 15, 30-minute increments, kind of spaced out, I find I have no problem with this lasting a good long time. And by that time, the second battery, which is on the 1 hour charger, is already charged and ready to go. So that's actually one reason to buy the 2-pack battery, is because there's actually no downtime. By the time this one dies, the other one is well charged. I haven't been able to kill this battery within an hour of use. Now, of course, that will vary depending on your usage. I use the tool probably in 15-30 minute increments, like 15 minutes, 5 minutes, switch out, whatever, and then back at it again. And I don't think you'll have any downtime unless you are using this for the whole hour non-stop, which I probably wouldn't recommend. Probably not go for the motor. You know, in that case, if you're using it though for like a good 45 minutes straight without running, without a break, without pausing, and you're running it at full speed, that may be an issue. But using it in short spurts, I did not find that I actually ran out of battery within the hour, and by that time the charger was done. Most of the time the Dremel battery ended up lasting a full day to even 2 days, depending on what I was doing that day. I only needed to switch out batteries like on the second day. Of course, if you only buy the one pack, you only have to wait 1 hour, kind of have 1 hour downtime, which is nice because you can go do something else. So if you do go get the one pack, even just the 1 hour charging is a nice feature. So let me show you some of the cool features here. I really like this adjustment here. It is kind of easy to switch if you're not careful, but overall I didn't have any issue with it. Depending on how you grab it, you shouldn't have any issue switching it, but you do need to be aware. You can usually tell by the sound. The other thing, and I'll turn this on, so I do apologize for the noise, is this battery indicator, which is really cool. So hopefully you'll be able to see it when I light it up. So hopefully you made that out. Is there are actually 3 little LED lights, and they tell you what the battery life is, which is really a nice function to have. And there's different things. If you read the manual, it will tell you what each one means. I think it's 75%, 50%, 25%, and then when it starts to blink, the last one is going to die. The other really nice touch is this little metal hook. Now it is kind of hard to get out, so let me see if I can do this. Okay, so it has this little hanging hook. Now I know other Dremels have this, but I really like how large this one is. If you look at my Black & Decker, you can see that this was the little hanging hook here, and I actually ended up adding a carabiner. Depending on where I was using this, you know, with the flex shaft tool and hanging this high above to use the flex shaft, this was not big enough. Now, other Dremels may have this size, but I really appreciate how long this is and just how it stays out of the way when you don't need it. The other new thing that Dremel is advertising, is talking about, is this easy grip. So even though this is, you know, kind of a heavy duty tool, I can actually wield it in one hand. Now of course for fine work you're going to want to use the flex shaft, but it is doable, and you know, this little wide grip here does make it a little bit more maneuverable compared to some of the other Dremel tools I've used. Overall guys, I'm pretty happy with the tool. I really like these features that the Dremel has. I think it's a great buy. Being able to ramp up from 5,000 to 30,000 is really nice, and of course having the increments in between. One thing I will talk about is the Black & Decker. Even though it mentions 12,000, 24,000, 30,000, one thing to be aware of is, even though low is 12,000, when you do start moving, it is still variable. So you're not locked at 3 speeds. It's 3 levels. So when you get to medium, you're at 24,000. When you get to high, you're at 30,000. But in between that, you know, there is a variable speed between. I don't like the rotary tools where there's only 3 speed, there's only 2 or 3 speeds, and when you switch them, when you switch it to 1, that's what it's at. I like variation, and the same thing with this Dremel 8220. One thing I want to talk about is the tool I'm replacing the Dremel with. This is the Black & Decker RTX. This is a 3-speed tool. It's 12,000, 24,000, and 30,000. This is a really great tool if you're on a budget. I think this is about $30 to $40. And if you're okay with the corded option, I like the flip lock mechanism they have here for changing the bits. It is actually a little bit nicer than this push button idea. But if you're on a budget guys, this is a really great tool. I'm actually going to be keeping this as a secondary tool or a backup tool. I will post links to this in case anyone's interested. This is a really great buy for $30, $40, especially if you're not sure if you need a rotary tool and you kind of want to experiment with one. This is a great starting point. Nice thing about the higher end Dremel tools is that they all unscrew, and you can add on the flex shaft, or you can add it on to the workstation, and it enhances the functionality. So I like that. The lower end Dremels don't always have that feature. So if you are looking, be sure to check out to make sure that it's compatible with the flex shaft and the workstation, because it really is a big feature. And in fact, that is one reason I actually chose the Black & Decker, because it does allow for use of the flex shaft, and the workstation, and you can interchange all the Dremel accessories with it. So it's a really good option if you just want to use the Dremel accessories, but you don't have the budget for the higher end Dremel tools that have the removable collar. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I will be putting this through its paces. Like I said, I've used the Black & Decker for about a year and a half to maybe even 2 years, so I can vouch for this. I'm really impressed with what this tool can do for about $30–40. It's a really cool option, and if you're gonna buy a corded version, I would look at this because it has all, you know, the speed is nice. It does not go very low. It goes to 12,000 as the lowest, but I like the variable speed. I like this locking system here for you to change out the bits, and the fact that it's compatible with the Dremel accessories is a really nice touch. So if you're in a budget, look at this. I'll post links in the description. But if you have the money, I do recommend looking at this 8220, especially if you want something cordless. This 12-volt version is really nice. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in tech, leathercraft, EDC, and multi-tool reviews, subscribe to my channel. I will have more stuff coming up soon.